He sacrificed his manhood for fame, offered his own mother in secret to gain power. But when darkness came to collect, this Nigerian pastor did the unthinkable. And what happened next shocked an entire nation. You are about to hear the story that no church will ever preach. What if the devil promised you a pulpit and all you had to give was your soul? He didn't want to be a preacher. He wanted to live, party, explore, and be free. But when his mother collapsed at his feet, crying that she'd rather die than watch him waste his life, Turner Martins made a promise he thought he could keep. He would serve God. He would lead a church. He would make his parents proud. But what began as a reluctant journey into faith became a nightmare of sacrifice, deception, and dark power that would haunt his every breath. This isn't just a story. It's a warning. A revelation of what happens when a man trades conviction for crowd, purpose for popularity, and ultimately, light for darkness. Turner Martins was born under the blazing sun of Goboko, Benue State. The third child of 5, he grew up in a Christian home filled with evening prayers, daily devotionals, and regular church attendance. His father was a retired teacher. His mother, the kind of woman who could pray down rain during dry season. But Turner was different. He was clever, charming, and had the voice of a born leader. But his heart was not in Sunday school teachings or hymns. While his siblings memorized psalms, Turner memorized love songs and football scores. By the time he was 19, he was the guy, always surrounded by girls, respected by boys, envied by parents. He didn't hate God, he just didn't see the point. That changed one rainy evening. He came home drunk, again. His mother waited at the door, soaked from standing outside in the rain. She didn't shout, she didn't slap. She just knelt in front of him, sobbing uncontrollably. "Turner, I've prayed for you, fasted for you, and now I'm tired. If you continue like this, I'll end it all. I'll die. I swear I will." He froze. The sound of her voice, broken and shaking, sliced through his pride like a knife. This woman who loved him more than life itself was dying inside. "Please," she whispered, "serve God. Be a pastor, preach. Save others if you won't save yourself." For the first time in years, Turner had no comeback. No jokes, no rebellion. He just said, "Okay, Mama. I'll try." Within a year, Turner Martins became a different man. He fasted, prayed, studied, learned scripture like his life depended on it. He opened the Lighthouse Fire Assembly in a dusty school hall, using plastic chairs and borrowed microphones. People came. At first, it was 10, then 20, then 40. People said he spoke like David, fiery, bold, unafraid. They loved his charisma. He didn't just preach, he connected. His mother watched from the front row, eyes full of pride. He didn't perform miracles, but he made people feel hope. And sometimes, hope was enough. Until Pastor Jeffrey arrived, a miracle-working, camera-friendly, suit-wearing preacher who opened the Rivers of Power Chapel just 5 blocks away. His services overflowed with testimonies. A blind woman saw. A paralyzed boy walked. Instant bank alerts. Healing from fibroids. The crowds at Turner's church began to shrink. "Pastor," a member told him, "your sermons are sweet, but Jeffrey's church is where God is moving." "We need miracles," said another. "Words are not enough." Turner went home and cried. That night, as he lay on his mattress, unable to sleep, the air in his room grew still. That night, Pastor Turner sat on the edge of his mattress, staring at the cracked ceiling of his small apartment. The room was silent except for the hum of an old fan and the quiet ache in his heart. He had done everything right: prayer, fasting, discipline. He had changed, truly. And yet it seemed the crowd only respected results, not righteousness. Miracles, not motivation. They wanted the signs and the wonders. "God," he whispered, "why do you seem silent when I need you most?" No answer. The next Sunday, only 12 people showed up. One of them, a woman named Sister Beatrice, stood up mid-service and said out loud, "This church is dead." She walked out and 3 others followed. His mother sat motionless on the front row, her face pale, her hands gripping her Bible so tightly her knuckles turned white. After service, she tried to comfort him. "Don't chase signs and wonders, Turner. Stay in God's will. Even Jesus lost followers when he told them the truth." But Pastor Turner didn't answer. He was already spiraling. That evening, while locking up the church, Turner noticed a man standing across the street. Tall, dressed in a long, dark robe, face obscured by shadows. The man crossed over slowly. "You are Pastor Turner Martins," he said. His voice was like silk and gravel, smooth and heavy. "Who are you?" "Call me the Watcher." Pastor Turner felt a shiver run down his spine. The Watcher spoke again. "You want to do the work of God, but without the signs, no one will believe you. Do you know what they said about Moses, Elijah, even Jesus? They were known for power, not just words." "I will not do anything against God's will," Turner replied firmly. "Then prepare to die in obscurity," the Watcher said with a smile. "But if you ever change your mind, call the name Great One 3 times under a new moon. He answers quickly." And then he turned and walked into the darkness. That night, Turner couldn't sleep. "Great One, Great One, Great One." The words echoed in his head like a chorus. He opened his Bible, desperate for clarity. His eyes landed on, "Many will say to me, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name?' And then I will tell them plainly, 'I never knew you.'" Matthew 7:22-23. The verse made his heart pound faster. "Am I one of them?" he whispered. But as more people left his church in the following weeks, the verse faded into the background. All he could see was his failure, his growing irrelevance, the shadow of Pastor Jeffrey's glowing ministry looming large, until finally, one night during the new moon, he stood outside, trembling. "Great One, Great One, Great One." He didn't know if he blacked out or fell asleep, but when he opened his eyes, he was no longer in his neighborhood. He stood in a forest of twisting trees. The moon above glowed crimson. In front of him was a throne made of bones, and seated upon it was the Great One. His skin was like burnt wood, eyes glowing coals, voice pure thunder. "So you finally came." "I want to grow my church," Turner said, unsure of his own voice. "I want God to move through me." The Great One laughed, low and ancient. "You do not come to me for God. You come for glory, but I will give you what you seek." Then 3 tasks were laid before him. Retrieve a black feather from a living crow in a pit of fire. Drink the tears of a weeping statue. Sacrifice something he loves most. Turner, wide-eyed and terrified, wanted to turn back, but it was too late. When he woke, he was in his room. Everything looked normal until he touched his hands. They glowed faintly. That morning, a woman walked into the church on crutches. Pastor Turner didn't hesitate. "Rise in the name of the Lord." She dropped her crutches. She walked. The church erupted. The next week, the hall overflowed. They moved into a larger building. Cameras arrived. Donations poured in. The Lighthouse Fire Assembly became one of the fastest-growing churches in the region. But Pastor Turner knew what powered it now, and he couldn't tell anyone. Soon, the Great One returned. The final price. "No," Pastor Turner whispered. "Please, not her. Your mother, or your voice." Sadly, the next morning, his mother died in her sleep. Cardiac arrest, they said, but only Pastor Turner knew what actually happened. He preached her funeral, cried into the microphone, but his voice echoed strangely hollow, as if heaven had turned its back. And still the miracles continued. A woman healed of cancer, a child raised from the dead, but each miracle pulled him deeper into the pit. Tracy, his wife, began asking questions. Why do you pray alone now? Why do you avoid intimacy? What are you hiding, Turner? He had no answers. And then the rumors started. Former members whispered about seeing him at night, speaking into mirrors. Staff found strange symbols etched into the back wall of his office. Tracy confronted him, and that night, Turner finally broke down. He told her everything, the Great One, the sacrifices, the power, his mother. Tracy screamed. In pain and confusion, she stood up and slapped him, packed her bags, and fled. The next Sunday, no one came to church. The lights in the building flickered. Pastor Turner stood alone on the pulpit. "I want out," he said to the air. "Take it all back." No answer. The Great One returned one last time. "I gave you everything, and you offer me this cowardice?" "I want to be free," Pastor Turner pleaded. "Then give me your name." Pastor Turner did not understand. "Your name, fool. Your legacy, your influence, your voice, all of it. You'll become nothing. Forgotten." A whisper. Pastor Turner fell to his knees. "Then take it. I'd rather be nobody than a lie." And just like that, the Great One vanished. Pastor Turner had to close the Lighthouse Fire Assembly, and he disappeared from the spotlight. He returned to his father's village, planting cassava, sweeping floors, and teaching children how to read. A few people recognized him and whispered, "Is that the miracle pastor?" He only smiled and said, "I was once blind. Now I see." Years later, a small Christian group in the village built a new community center. They asked him to preach. He refused at first, but then, with a tear in his eye, he took the microphone and said, "I don't come with miracles today. I come with truth." The people clapped, not for power, but for his honesty. He never became famous again, never led a mega church. But every month, people visited him to learn the truth about spiritual manipulation, fake miracles, and what it really means to know God. One day, Tracy returned, older, calmer, with a Bible in her hand. "You're different," she said. "I'm finally who I should have been," Turner replied. They sat in silence for a long time. Forgiveness didn't come quickly, but it came. If this story made you think twice, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts or personal experiences. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another powerful revelation. And remember, test all spirits to see whether they are from God. 1 John 4:1. Stay discerning, stay awake, stay rooted in truth,